Hello, beautiful people. Hey, look, before I start this session, I have a big announcement to make. And, the documentary that's been in the works for a long time about my son Eric's life, it's almost finished. But in order to get to that finish line, the director producer Paula Marino needs some help. So she needs funds to cover all the professional fees that will be involved to bring the story to the screen, like a professional story editor, a music composer, a sound mixer, an illustrator, animator, etc., etc. Now, Paula created a crowdfunding page where you can donate whatever you feel comfortable donating. You can also donate by purchasing a 30-minute session with one of our mediums, or by purchasing an item from the Erik merchandise store, like the one I'm wearing. Saving the world one prank at a time. It's an embroidered image, so it's really nice. So anyway, go visit channelingericdoc.com and take a look at it. This project is very near and dear to my heart. And one of my greatest wishes is to get the story out to more people so we can help more people. And I want you to go and see the trailer that's on the channelingericdoc.com. It's so moving. It's so powerful. It was my first reaction. It was a gut punch, um, but it says it all. So look at the trailer and let me know what you think. Thank you, guys. Veronica and I just had a little love fest. We love each other so much. Anyway, this is Veronica Drake. Information down below and on the screen. She's amazing, as you just noticed. If you have not watched the other 3 parts about our interview with Jesus, please do so. And we have Jesus still here. Thank you so much for the wisdom you are imparting to us today and before. And I have Erik facilitating.
Erik says,
I don't think Jesus needs much help. But anyway, thank you, Erik, for being here. And you're going to be at Christmas with us, right?
oh, set the plate, the
Okay.
stuffing.
All right. We're going to continue with these wonderful community questions. Jesus, why has God decided to create the countless soul it has created to experiment on itself, like Conversations with God? That whole book said. Why? What knowledge could they gain that God is not already aware of? Well, I could sort of answer that, like Jesus would know better, but God can conceptualize love in all its facets, but there has to be an experiential component. Like you can take chemistry, organic chemistry, bleh, but you need the lab to really totally understand it. You can look at a recipe of a brownie, but and read it and stuff, but you really have to get in the kitchen, make the brownie, burn your fingers, i.e. human experience. And then when you take that bite, then you really truly experience what a brownie is. So, is there anything else you can add to that?
I'm laughing because he's telling me to use my example.
Please
So he
do
says,
so.
tell him about the lima beans. People can tell you that they love lima beans and you should eat your lima beans. They're good for you. But when you put them in your own mouth, you will decide if you like the texture, if you like the taste. He said it is absolutely experiential.
Okay, good. And what's the decision? Do you like lima beans?
Me or Jesus?
No, you.
Oh, dear God, I hate lima beans. That's why he's laughing. They're disgusting.
Oh, I love them with the little
They're like
bacon.
eating
Little bacon.
flypaper.
Yeah, I know it's really funny texture. All right. How is the experience on Earth any different from giving the car keys to a 6-year-old and ask him or her to drive safe and not crash the car? The crash will happen, so why can't God see that this soul's amnesia isn't helpful, as it is stalling the evolution process for every human being? Oh, I beg to differ. Hardship is the fuel of spiritual evolution.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
Imagine if you all came in knowing how to drive the car.
Yeah,
You know, there'd be no learning, there'd be no experience that was needed.
yeah, exactly.
You you come to a place in your life where you think you've got it all figured out, and all of a sudden the car runs out of gas, or a tire goes flat, or the engine won't turn over. This is what grows you. You come to a place in your life where everything seems to be going the way that you feel that it should be going, you, the human.
Yeah.
But in reality, when stuff breaks down, that's when strength grows.
Yeah. And what about somebody T-bones you, then you're paralyzed? Okay. Then all of a sudden you have to try to learn forgiveness. You have to learn humility. You have to learn how to reach self-empowerment again, and all these valuable lessons. They're not fun, but
If there's
sometimes.
one thing that your listeners take away, I hope that it's this. Nothing happens to you. It happens for you.
Sometimes it's not fun, people. But remember, we're all eternal beings, and it's only temporary. We're just playing the parts in a Shakespearean tragedy sometimes, but
Erik wants to interject something.
please, Erik.
Erik says, where did we get the idea that things should be right, wrong, good, bad? The soul doesn't look at it like that. The soul doesn't say, oh, I'm going to have a good day because the sun's out. The soul doesn't look at this person's a good person, that person's a bad person. The soul looks at it as neutral. The soul is energy.
Yeah.
The human conditioning and condition, he says, is what makes the experience.
Yeah. Absolutely. And as you've said, Erik, there's no right or wrong. Everything is a lesson.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And Jesus just confirmed that, by the way.
Yeah, all right. Y'all are on the same page. What will happen to the different souls God has created when the ascension process is finalized? Will they have to merge with source and become one and again? And if that's true, why?
It's funny because Jesus actually has a sense of humor. And what he just said to me, it's what's on the shampoo bottle. Wash, rinse, repeat. You go through it again. You wash, you rinse, you repeat
So
until
when we
you.
ascend to the 4D, 5D, etc., what happens to our souls?
So the souls that don't ascend, wash, rinse, repeat. You
Oh,
come
yeah.
back, you do it again.
I got you.
So that's basically, once the soul goes up, it goes up in energy, it goes up in understanding, it goes up in dimension. He says, let me show you something. This is your world that you live in, right? The physical, tangible earth that we're here. Then you go up and you go up. It's a replica, but not of your world. And so you're living at a much more evolved being.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, did I articulate that good enough? Because I feel like my whole body lit up when I said that.
Wow. I thought it was glowing. No, but I mean, I could see that. You got this holographic earth ascending and ascending and ascending from one dimension to the next, and some are on this earth, some are still on that earth, and they have to do the rinse and repeat.
Yes, that's exactly it. Oh, I have chills.
If God has created souls in order to experience itself, have in the end have to merge themselves with God. Wait. If God has created souls in order to experience itself, do they have to merge themselves with God? And then what's the point of enduring hardship, sickness, rape, wars, being murdered, etc.? So, in other words, if they had to do all this experimenting, go through experiences so God can experience themselves, and in the end they merge themselves with God, then what's the point of the hardships?
Well, again, we spoke to that. We talked to the point of hardships so that the soul can learn.
Yeah. Okay. If the souls have to merge with God when ascension is complete, will God create a new source? God is source, right?
Mm-hmm.
Will he have to create another version of itself?
Yeah, you can't speak to this in human terms. You have to think of it as in dimensions, as in existence, dimensions of existence. If you're here and you're experiencing this here, and then you evolve or ascend or whatever word you want to put to it, then you exist on this level and it becomes a different experience. Experiences never end. That's the
Yeah.
part the human can't understand. It's not like one day you get there and you're laying around smoking a big fat stogie with God, he says, and cracking open a beer and watching, football. He says it's not like that. There's always more to go to.
Yeah. Everything, people have a hard time understanding that things can have been existed forever and can possibly never end. That whole infinicy,
Well,
things being infinite is hard to imagine because we are born and we die, and so we think everything's linear, and it's really not. It's just I don't think we have the vocabulary to really understand it.
we don't, or the bandwidth up here, because the first thing Jesus is showing me is a circle.
Yeah.
Life is a circle. People try to live life linearly, like in a line. I do this, I do this, I do this. No, babe, Erik says, no, babe, you're going to repeat that shit over
Yeah.
and over and over. And Jesus says, and then you're going to go to the next level and you're going to repeat that shit over and over on that level.
It's like your wagon wheel analogy, Erik, that, we're
All
the
spokes.
hub, there's the oversoul, the higher self, and all the spokes are the different lives, past, present, future, and
There you
then
go.
you are rolling in the wet mud and creating that linear track. But
That's
then
it.
again, if you ascend, you go to the next wagon wheel, the next and the next and the next.
Yeah.
Is peace on earth possible, or will it always be like a personal state of being?
Peace on earth is possible within each and every individual. Peace happens collectively when the individuals meet people where they're at and they are met where they're at.
Back to that. Yeah.
Understanding.
Was the impact on your life as Jesus meant to manifest itself into a religion and last as long as it has? These people are so brilliant, I swear.
Yeah. It was not meant to be a religion. Christianity, Christ, was not meant to be the dogma that man has turned it into. I feel, as I share this with you, that at this current time, my mission was lost. And it is lost in the dogma. It's lost in the punitive. It's lost in the, you do it this way, you do it that way, or my religion's better than your religion. I never stood for that. I never wanted that. If you look at the foundation of all big worldly religions, you will see the common denominators. That's the truth, not the pomp and circumstance.
Absolutely. I think that humans tend to weaponize things, and in many ways, they have weaponized religion. The Crusades, the Spanish Inquisition, things like that. I mean, it's Salem witch trials. It's a shame, and I see it even in a day to day in my personal life and in others. Like one of the mediums was a lifelong Catholic, and when they found out what she was doing, they said, "I'm sorry, you have to leave." She's been there for 20 years. So wait, I told that medium, wait, what's the point of would Jesus do that? Huh? Or they'll say, "Oh, you can't talk to Jesus, only the Pope can, Elisa." Oh, I think Jesus is cool with us having this little chat. And then I remember another time, one of my daughter's best friends died, overdosed on something, and I was just so upset for the family because I knew them very well, very religious. And I went over to their house. I wanted to go to the memorial service, and they knew that I channeled, not channeled, but whatever. And they said, "Well, you can't go with us because we need you to stay at the house and watch our giant dogs because there have been some home invasions." Okay, so little old 60-something-year-old Elisa, I'm supposed to protect the dogs from home invasion? I knew what it was clearly about. So, I see a lot of that going on, and particularly in the Baptist religions, not all, but also Catholic, a lot of them. So what's with that?
People
It's
fear what
not
they don't
inclusive.
know.
Aren't you supposed to include everyone and
People
love everyone?
fear what they don't know. People fear what they don't know.
Yeah.
People will look at other people, and you know the saying, people that live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones?
Yeah.
Everybody lives in a glass house. The stones you throw will come back as shrapnel within you.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. Well, I just feel like, what would Jesus do? And Jesus would not have done those different things at all.
No, I would never, and I don't care who you lay with.
Yeah, of course. When you were here as Jesus, did you also have to overcome like insecurities, fear, ego? I'm sure as a young boy. Um,
Absolutely. I had the whole gamut of emotions.
yeah,
Where I found solace and comfort was no surprise. I went to the desert and spoke to the Father, my Father.
yeah,
In silence and stillness is where you will find peace.
exactly. Did you meet other souls who were the other souls who were crucified on the same day as you?
Not necessarily.
Okay. How old were you when you actually died? The Emmanuel, maybe I
They
practice.
say I was 33,
Oh, okay.
but who knows? There's no such thing as time.
Well, that's true. What was your dad Joseph like? And did you meet your biological father in the afterlife? In other words, a sperm donor, I guess? Or was there one? So
Yeah, he's,
confusing.
he's looking at me like with his head to the side. What are you asking me?
Oh, they're asking.
Yeah,
What was Joseph like?
Joseph was a man of honor. Joseph was a man of integrity. And Joseph was a man who taught me a lot about being human and a lot about courage and a lot about integrity and truth. Joseph was the embodiment of God.
Oh, that's beautiful. From your spiritual perspective, why do you think there's continuous turmoil in the lands you grew up in as Jesus? Yeah, why? It, centuries and centuries of turmoil in the Middle East.
That whole area has the history of it perpetuates itself. The energy lays in the land, it stays there, and then it is reborn again with each generation. So you have the human component of adopting the next generation, the former generation's hate and belief, and then the land perpetuates it. We stand for this. This is ours, and then
Yeah.
it becomes one big cyclical. Again, there's that circle. So, in the context of that circle, we must learn to take a break and then continue on.
I'm thinking about the main service. We work on the land a lot because we need to revoke curses and get rid of earthbound spirits, make that have them go to the light, and work on their ancient burial grounds sometimes involved. And there's bad mojo like instances of torture or ceremonial sacrifice. There's so much to work on. And I
Yes.
think that a lot of these older places, like the Middle East, have accumulated so much of that bad mojo. And I see a lot of Scandinavian countries. It takes longer to work on their land too.
hmm the Middle East, the wording Erik is using is toxic on all
Yeah,
levels. Not to say the people there aren't good or there's not a place to be or you shouldn't go there. He's just saying there's a lot of toxicity that absorbed into the land.
yeah. I thought about doing scalar work on the Middle East land in general, but I don't know. I think it would be too much for me
Oh,
energetically, and maybe even dangerous.
Erik says don't do that.
Okay. Have you read different religious texts? Jesus, of course, the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, and do you have any opinion on them?
I don't read them. I understand them. I live them. They're all
Yeah.
the same.
Okay. Growing up in the Bible Belt, I've seen and heard "Be more like Jesus" as a slogan tons of times. What do you think being like you, Jesus, should involve? That's a wonderful question.
Compassion,
Yeah.
love for each other, love for self,
Yeah.
the willingness to explore, and the willingness to say, I don't know, and the
Yeah.
willingness to be able to be the positive for other people.
Yeah. Beautiful. What do you think of the cross as a symbol for your message when it was, I believe, the worst day of your life?
Mhm. It's the intersection where worlds collide.
Wow, interesting.
I was of this world, and then I became of this world.
Oh, that is so cool. Ooh. Did you have a favorite cultural custom you were raised with or that you taught your children?
I wouldn't say cultural custom, but I would say the Ten Commandments are not taught, they are inherited. We understand as humans, we don't murder. We don't need to teach the Ten Commandments. We need to teach how to be more self loving and more compassionate to ourselves as it reverberates out to each other. So I always taught self love in a non egotistical way.
Okay. You know, when I was growing up, we always said every morning in elementary school, at least, uh, Our Father who art in heaven. We also did the Pledge of Allegiance. Do you think we should bring those back on a voluntary basis, or and let people say whatever they want to say in their own religion, or even think to themselves every day?
You have free will. And so if one wants to recite this and another doesn't, there's free will. You can have a moment of silence. Stillness
Yeah.
and silence are really what matters, not the words that you utter. It's what's in your heart when you are still and you are silent. There's nothing wrong with having a moment of observation, a moment of stillness, if you will. How twisted can it be when we can't stand in stillness? We live in a world where everybody goes, 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 goes. We teach our kids to go, go, go. And then what do? You pump them with medication because they go, 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 go. Why not have a moment of stillness? That's all.
I believe we should bring some of that back. Maybe not saying the Lord's Prayer, but if you want to say it, I mean, and then somebody else can say their prayer or their moment of silence, etc. But for some reason, we've developed to become a country that's not freedom of religion, but freedom from religion, where you're not allowed to do it. You're not allowed to put a cross up in your yard. You're not allowed to have to display your faith in God, Jesus, Mohammed, etc.
Stillness. Find stillness in your schools, find stillness in your systems, and you will find God in your heart.
If you were Jesus in our modern world today, I love this one. Would you smoke weed?
Of course I would.
All right. You made a lot of people happy. Growing up without a mother and an almost absent father, I had a really close relationship with you, starting already when I was really young, and I always looking for your voice inside of me. How can I stay in a constant relationship with you here in the 3D and understand how fully how to follow your inner guidance, your messages of peace, love, and freedom? How can I learn to be led fully by your Christ consciousness? Ooh, great last question.
I want you to think of it like this. Think of your human experience of what it's like to love someone. When you love someone, you're present for them. When you love someone, you're compassionate towards them. When you love someone, you are giving them your time and your attention. You are spending quality time with them. You are doing little acts of service for them. The same is true with building a relationship with me. Fall madly in love with me so that you and I can become one.
Awesome. So I have a bunch of other questions that we'll have to do another time. It's not part of the community questions, but some are related to Joseph, asking, telling Joseph basically, and others from this one woman, Angie, um, questions on the blood. I thought would reveal many things concerning detail of his spiritual and physical life. Wanted to ask questions how to understand the universe in correlation with us as humans, such as the macrocosm and the microcosm. I had a lot more, such as vibrations and a thought, but it was not concerning the life of Jesus itself, but only around it. So, so I can do that later. Let's make it. Yeah. So we'll do that another time. There's way too many of them. It's a whole other part to itself, which we can combine with the interview of Joseph because I don't really have very many for his channeling for some reason. All right. Well, thank you, Jesus, and thank you, Veronica. You guys check her out. Thank you, Erik, for your help. and also your wisdom. Gosh, that's just amazing. Any last words that you would like to express, Jesus?
Just remember me in stillness and silence.
Okay, we'll do. And what do you want us to do this Christmas? It's not all about presents, obviously.
I want you to reflect on what's in your heart, and I want you to reflect on if your life is a direct reflection of what's in your heart. Don't have judgment on it. Don't look at it as good, bad, right, or wrong, because I will promise you this: your life is exactly what is in your heart.
How should we incorporate you or honor you during the Christmas holidays, since it was primarily created about around the aspects of your birth?
Remember me and remember what it took for me to be here, the adversities, the problems, the troubles. Remember that, because that is the human journey. But also remember that I arrived and I came above it, and so will you.
There's hope for us yet. Thank you. And thank you, Veronica. Again, if y'all haven't done the thumbs up, please do and hit the subscribe and the notification thingamajiggers. Bye, Eric. I love you. See you Christmas.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Veronica.